Okay, it's in one piece. Hiya, welcome back to my channel. It's Wendy here from Toonpish Crafts and I hope you're doing okay. You may remember over a year ago I made some Let's Resin light bulbs. Now, it's one of my most popular videos actually, and I really enjoyed making them. And at the time I thought, you know, I'm going to do this again. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, a year later I decided to do it again. So I'm using the Let's Resin light bulb kit. In there you get 2 light bulbs, you get some lights, you get the end caps, and you get the little pins to go in the end. Now I've actually gone a little bit crazy with this and I've made quite a few, so I might split this into 2 videos, and if I do I'll put the second part up tomorrow night. Yeah, there's a lot of light bulbs. Anyway, let's have a look how I got on with this. First design, the tubes. So I got these silicone tubes from Amazon. They're usually used for medical reasons, for DIY beer making or wine making, and for all sorts really. They're used for ferrying liquids around. So I thought I'd put some resin in them. They're made of silicone, there's no reason why they shouldn't cure. So I'm just cutting them roughly to the same size. I'm going to use about 5 inches in length. Now unbeknownst to me the last one was actually a different size, but it doesn't matter. And I want to tape them all together so I can stand them up and pour resin inside them. So I'm going to use a bit of tape and tape it around the tubes. Everything that I use today will be listed in the description box below. If I've missed anything, please let me know and I'll get it sorted. So I'm hot gluing them to a plastic lid. This is to stop the resin coming out the bottom, obviously, and should in theory give it a foot so it doesn't fall over. But they were slightly bendy, so I thought I needed to make them rigid. So I had a look round what I had handy and I came up with some barbecue skewers. They are really rigid and just perfect for this situation. So I put one down the middle. Goodness only knows where that went to. And one on the outside. And that made it more rigid so it would stand straight. And because I did a small one, I then did the big one. So I'm just going to fill them up with 5 different colours. I'm using JDictions colours here. The colours are really vibrant and they're translucent so the light will go through them. So I'm using yellow, red, green, purple and blue. So 24 hours later and it's time to take them out. They've been in the pressure pot overnight and I'm hoping that they will come out of these silicone tubes quite easily. So what I do is squirt isopropyl alcohol down inside the tube. Twist it round so it gets wet inside and they pop out like a dream. You could also use soapy water. Beautiful colour purple. Take the glue off at the end. 1 bar down. They do come out really easy. I didn't have any trouble with getting them out of the silicone tubes whatsoever. And I'm almost certain I'm going to be using these types of tubes again in the future. And once they're all out, the big ones as well, I have an array of different colours in different sizes. With any mould, it's good to squirt it with mould release before you use it. going to be using JDictions crystal clear epoxy for this. It's not a deep pour resin as such, but it does pour deep. Now this gets a little more interesting because this is an ice cream tub lid. I've marked some holes and I've drilled some holes, and they're big enough to take the rods. I've put some sellotape at the top of the rods to stop them falling through, and I'm threading them through the holes and popping them into the mould. Now what I'm aiming for is for them to spread out inside the mould. But I've got my measurements not quite right, and I need to make the holes nearer the centre, so that's what I've done on another lid. And now I should have enough of the rod inside the mould for it to splay out and do what I want it to do. So I've put some epoxy resin in the mould, and I'm popping the rods, twisting them round so that they splay out inside. Oh, I don't know if I'm making myself clear, but hopefully I am. With this one, I'm just putting them straight down. The larger rods, I can just about fit 5 into the mould, and as it's the elongated long mould, I thought it would look better with just straight colours. So after a little bit of faffing around trying to get the right amount of resin in there, I put them in the pressure pot to cure. Second design, iridescent cellophane. So this design is as easy as pie. The iridescent cellophane is the stuff that they wrap flowers in, and you can get it from Amazon. Everything I use will be linked in the description below, and if I miss anything, please do ask me and I will find the link. But this is simple, you just bung it in. I do put this in the pressure pot, mind you, because there's bound to be a lot of bubbles in that cellophane. If you don't have a pressure pot, you could shred the cellophane, shred it through your shredder, or just sit there and chop it up into bits. That would reduce the bubbles that go in. And if you mix it with the resin before you put it into the mould, that again will reduce the amount of bubbles in the resin. But with a pressure pot, you can pretty much negate all that. I'm sorry to say, I do love my pressure pot. So 24 hours later, and the cellophane mould needed to be filled up where all the resin had gone down into the areas where there was air. I'm also making a plug, and that's for a different one. Third design, glow in the dark. I'm going to be using Let's Resin glow in the dark pigments for these, and I want lots of small pieces. So I'm starting with yellow, and I'm mixing a large amount of powder in a small amount of resin because I want the most impact. What I decided to do was to put all these little pieces into light bulbs. I am pouring out the letters, and I do make a light bulb with those, but not in this video. So although I'm making it here, you won't see it in the end results, I'm afraid. But I want lots of small different colours of the glow in the dark. I already have some larger pieces that I made in a previous video, and if you haven't seen the tips and tricks on glow in the dark, then I'll put the link in the top right hand corner. So I've moved on to green and then sky blue, then yellow green, blue green, and gold. Now a lot of these colours do look similar, but when they do glow different. 24 hours later, it's time to demould these pieces. I also did a blue down in the bottom left hand corner, and these are so easy to pop out of these little moulds, so I just thought I'd speed it through and show you the end result, more or less. Now it's time to demould the plug. This is actually the centre of a little jar mould, so it's the bit that you wouldn't normally put resin in, but it was a perfect size for what I wanted, a clear resin plug, because it fits just nicely in the top of the light bulb mould. So here's all the pieces. The bigger ones I made recently, and the little ones I've just made. And what I'm planning to do is put a little bit of blue dye in some resin, fill the mould up with resin and put the pieces in too. Now I am being careful to start with by grabbing the ones that I wanted, and later I just pretty much just pick up whatever I can grab hold of until I get to a point where I can put the plug in. Now I want the plug to actually give a clear centre. It's a little bit tricky getting the right amount of pieces and resin in there. Adjust it a few times. But once I've got the plug in there, I know the light will shine through the plug. Now I've just got to put pieces around the outside of that so it doesn't look clear at the top. So I'm putting little pieces around the outside of the plug so the light can shine through the middle and still pick up the colours of the bulb. Fourth design, Druzy. I absolutely love Druzy pieces, and I thought I've never put it in a bulb before, so I'm going to have to do it. Well, me being me, kind of thought one isn't enough. I'm going to have to put two in this bulb. So yeah, every time I moved one, the other one got dislodged, but I think I got there in the end. I should have put some oil on the back, it would have helped secure them. If you're not sure of what a Druzy is, then check out the link in the top right hand corner. But eventually, after much faffing around, I did actually get them to stay. With the little round bulb, the Druzy piece needs to be rather thin because there's quite a lot of way it can pull up if it's a rounded mould. However, getting one Druzy piece in was a lot easier. So with the rounded mould, I decided to fill half of it with clear resin and put a few drops of Let's Resin blue alcohol ink to kind of make a reverse pour, but basically just let it do its thing and then top it up with clear resin. Just let it do its thing. With the one with two Druzy pieces in, I decided to go quite plain and use a peacock blue colour, which is a JDictions colour. Mixed it well and just poured that one whole colour in to make it one solid colour. After all, it already had plenty of fancy in it. So we're getting now close to demoulding. Unfortunately, a few of them need topping up. When you use these light bulb moulds, they need to be right to the top of the mould. So if your resin shrinks back, you need to top them up. So with this one, I've got to cut the plastic lid off so I can actually get to a place where I can pour in some resin. And then you can hear me on the day. And yes, it is me, not a ghost. So I need to... I do think I'm a little possessed though at this point. Fill this up. And fill that one 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 up. Definitely hooked. Demoulding 1 and 2, the tubes. Demoulding day is always fun, isn't it? I love demoulding day, to find out what you've actually got after your hard work. And yeah, let's have a look. Isopropyl alcohol does help to demould light bulbs, or soapy water will also do the job. Now I really like this effect. I love that. I love that they just kind of mesh together. Amazing. And now for the long straight one. Again, isopropyl alcohol, squirting everywhere, but that's fine. And that looks amazing. Now these are old moulds. They are older moulds, and these pieces will need sanding and buffing to get them really shiny. But I also need to cut the tops off because they're just too long, aren't they? So I took it to my garage and using my scroll saw, I cut off the pieces that don't need to be there anymore. You can use a saw. A little bit more hard work though. Now obviously they're not flat, so they need a bit of a sand, so I take them over to my belt sander. Again, you don't have to use these pieces of equipment if you don't have them, but it is far easier if you do. Just to sand them down flat. I also then put a thin layer of UV resin on them to make them crystal clear again. Demolding 3 and 4 iridescent cellophane and glow in the dark. So the iridescent cellophane one has a lip to it where I overfilled it slightly, but that's no big deal, that can come off. Filling it with isopropyl or alcohol to make it slippery so it comes out. They are slippery when they come out as well, and I really like that. And the same with the glow in the dark piece one. And I think the plug worked really well actually. You can see down the middle of it quite nicely. Demoulding 5 and 6, the Druzy pieces. I thought I'd leave the squelching sands in for this one. Now the resin has gone underneath the Druzy, which isn't such a big deal. In most places it's very, very shallow. And a little chip away at it makes it come away from the Druzy itself. Once you've got into the bigger area, however, it's a little bit more difficult. But I did find that using a heat gun definitely helped. This one did come away fairly easily, but the one on the other side wasn't so easy. It's very easy to tear the little edges as well. So I went away from the knife because I felt that the knife was going to damage the Druzy itself. So I went for a tougher instrument, and this is where I got the heat gun out to help alleviate the pressure slightly, to make it more malleable so I could take it off of the main body. And it does work. There's one heck of a chunk of resin as well. Cleaning it up a little, but I absolutely love this one. This one is my favourite. Did I say that isopropyl alcohol makes them slippery? I think I did.
Oh. Okay, it's in one piece.
I think I need to listen to myself more, don't I? The last piece of Druzy is again a little bit far away from the edge, but the heat tool just does the trick. And this was the one that I did the little bit of ink drop in the centre before I filled the mould up, and you can see the little lines in it. It's like wispy blue, it's lovely. Assembly. So this is a bit of important information. The light bulb kits that I bought over a year ago are not the same size as the light bulb kits I bought this year. The light bulbs that I'm trying to fit into the new caps won't fit. Now I thought the caps were just the wrong size, but I'd put all the caps into one bag. So I just assumed that the caps were wrong. It wasn't until later that I realised that some of the caps actually fitted. So what was going on? And it was the fact that the old light bulb moulds are bigger around the neck than the new caps. So they're just different sizes. Now I didn't know that when I was trying to put them together. So it looks as if they don't fit. They do, if you use the right light bulb mould with the right light bulb cap. So Let's Resin have designed these lights to stay on for 30 seconds. You tap them for them to go on, and you tap them for them to go off. And they stay on for 30 seconds only. So if you leave them alone, they will stay on for 30 seconds. It's great for battery economy. so you don't waste your battery and they don't run out so fast. However, sometimes you might want the lights to last a bit longer. Light modifications. Now, I might be a bit of a jack of all trades, master of none. However, I'm not an electrician, and when it comes to wiring up lights and soldering irons and things like that, I just can't do it. I don't know how, and I won't attempt it. But these little fairy lights are really useful. If you have a look at this end cap, you can see it's made of plastic with little ridges, and I decided to cut a bit of my own ridge in the plastic so that I can put a wire through the hole. So that way, when I thread a wire through the hole, it won't get trapped and I should still be able to put the end cap on. So I've untangled the lights and I'm threading them through the hole. These tiny little lights just fit through the hole nicely. When I get to the end, I push over the wire and I put the end cap in. Now it is a little loose, so I'm going to use hot glue to stick it in. It will also save the wire from pulling out. Making sure they still work. And now I need to fold them up to put them inside of the cap. Now I want all the lights to shine out. I could just scrunch them all up and put them in there, but I want them to point outwards towards the light bulb. So I'm just folding them over, keeping all the bulbs in one place at the top, squishing them down and folding them over to put them inside the cap, still making sure they work. When I put the light bulb in, it worked beautifully. Does need gluing though, that one. So I think I've managed to get this video down to around 27 minutes, and if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. Would be great if you could put the thumbs up, and don't forget to leave a comment. I always get back to comments. Well, as you can see, I got completely hooked on light bulbs. I just couldn't stop, and I would have carried on if I didn't stop myself. I absolutely loved messing around with these. There's so many things you can do with them, absolutely tons. And putting your own lights in the base just opens up a whole new world. As long as you've attached them properly to the lights, you can hang them up on string. You can have them hanging around your room. Oh, can you imagine how gorgeous they will be? Anyway, I'm not an electrician, so I couldn't do my own wiring, but those little fairy lights did really work. I really appreciate you watching this one. I hope you've enjoyed it. Come back and see me next week, because you never know what I'm going to be up to. Yeah, I'll put up some stills so you can have a look at the end results if you haven't seen them already. Have a great week, happy crafting, and bye for now.